Hello everyone, this is Ubed Khan and you are watching Elite Edu World. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates of our channel, and please do share with your friends, relatives, and especially for students, because our channel having a lot of educational videos. Okay, so let's move towards today's topic.
Hi everyone, this is Ubed Khan. I'm going to teach you science subject. So we will start the biology chapter number 1 in our standard 6. This is our first day, or this is our first class we have starting, and that is why we have started with the very first chapter. Then the name of the chapter is the leaf. So in this class 6 actually, before I just want to clarify some points. Up to 5th standard you have only one book, textbook, that is for all the GS, including physics, chemistry, biology. All the topics are in the one book only it is covered, but now you are going to enter into the class 6. So in the class 6 actually it is now higher classes you are now entering. So you are having actually 3 books. Number 1 for biology, second for chemistry, and third for physics. So that is why whole the portion, it is now from 6 onwards, it is dividing into the 3 parts right now. So number 1 we will start with the biology book in your academic session, and number 1 chapter name is the leaf, right? So everybody know what is leaf. So we will start with this chapter, and I request before starting this lecture, every student please just keep pen or pencil and notebook with you. So while you are having or some important points, you can see, you can be write in your notebooks. So we will start our very first lesson. So in this before, on very first page it is given background or some introduction about the plant. So as we are in our environment, always we are looking different kind of the plants in our surrounding. There are flowering plants in your surroundings. Large numbers are there, such as the tulsi, rose, mango, neem, peepal, etc. So many kind of the plants. If we see properly in sometime in our house also, sometime we went outside our house, so we can also see. Sometime we went to the gardens, we can see different kind of the plants. So there are so many numbers of the plants are there. Some flowering plants, some are non-flowering plants. So they have variation in the height, shapes, leaves, color of the flower, etc. These are several variations are there. We cannot see all the plants are looking in the same type, right? So each and every or so many plants are there. So basically they are same, but again they are having several kind of the variations in their height, variation in their shape of the leaf, color of the leaf, color of flower, etc. So despite these variations, they have distinct structural similarities also, right? Some variations also there, and some structural similarities are there in the structure. All are having same kind of the structure, like all are having the roots and shoot. This basic part we can be divide the plant. So shoot and roots each and every having, and then all the flowering plants have roots, stem, leaves, and they bear the flower. These are some common characteristics all the flowering plant they are having. All the flowering plant have the flowering plants having the roots, stem, leaf, and they bear the flower. These are some basic points or some similarities which are present in each and every flowering plant, but some differences also there in the difference in the color or flowering color and several height or thickness or broadness. Several differences are also there, but these are some common characteristics which are having all the flowering plants. So first of all, we can be divide the plant into 2 parts, right? Number 1 root system, and number 2 shoot system. Before in our previous classes might be you have seen the whole plant, but right now we will just divide the plant into 2 basic parts, and that are root system and shoot system. So we will start with the root system number 1. The word itself explain that is we are talking about the root of the plant. So what is actually happening in that? So the root actually it is having underground part of the plant, and it is called the root, right? Whatever the part of the plant which are present inside the surface of the earth that are underground, so that part is called root of the plant. And its main characteristics are, what are the characteristics of the roots? That we'll see in detail now. What are why the roots are there, why there is a need of the roots, and what are the types of the roots. Everything in the detail we will see now, one by one. So in number 1 point, it grows downwards into the soil, away from the sunlight and toward the force of gravity, right? Because all the roots are, they are growing downward position, they are growing underground, they are growing opposite direction of the sunlight, and they are growing in the direction of gravity, right? Our earth having the gravity. So this is the number 1 basic characteristics of the roots, that they are growing opposite to the sunlight, they are growing underground, and they are growing toward the gravitational force, right? So this is very important first point you have to keep in your mind. Then to understand better, it is given one more activity. So with the help of this activity you can understand how the roots are growing. So for that, what you have to do, you have to carefully dig out a small plant, like you can take the balsam plant from the soil and gently wash the portion which was under the ground with the tap water, because when you are removing the plant, so it is having all the soil are present that are connected or that are attached to the roots. So that is why you have to carefully remove the roots or some this kind of the plants, and then you will just follow the next part what is given here, and then we will continue with our next activity. I think this is the second page in your textbook. So here is the remaining activity. So what we have to do now, then you have to take a large size of the means beaker. Inside the beaker you can take some amount of the water, and in the tumbler you can take this, put some water and keep the plant in it with its underground part submerged in it, in the water, right? You have to take a small container or tumbler or the glass tumbler. In that you have to put some water, and then put the plant like this. The roots should be submerged into the water, because it's required to live alive. Plant required the water, so you have to keep like this. The roots are submerged into the water. Then observe the plant carefully and compare its parts, especially the roots. Okay, so you have to compare the parts, what is changes are coming into the plants after putting into the water. Identify the 2 main parts. Number 1, that is underground part, that is known as the root, and then the other which was above the soil, that is known as the shoot system. So when you are putting into the water, now it is very clear that root you can also see and that shoot you can also see. The part is submerged into the water, that is called the roots. So why we have to do this activity? Because when the plant are actually present inside the soil, so you cannot see the roots clearly. That is why you have to just take out the plant with the roots, and you have to put it into the glass tumbler in the water. So transparency is there, and you can easily see the growth of the root, how the roots are growing toward the gravitational force and opposite to the sunlight. So, and the other shoot part, what is above the water or above the soil, that will be grow in upward direction, that will be grow at the direction of the sunlight, right? So this activity will be give you some more idea about the basic part. If you see this diagram is also showing, here I will show you this. This is the part of your soil. From here you can be divide into the root and shoot. This upward part, this all the part, it's called the shoot of the root of the plant, and this one part is called the root of the plant. Whatever the part which is underground, that is called the root. So now we will see what are the functioning of this. So number 1, we will just talk about the root. because that is underground part of the plants. So basic function of the root, that is holding the plant in upright position, it is providing the protection, it is providing the base, the plant will be stand in steady state, and that is they help in the plant to a second thing, it is also helping to absorb the water and minerals from the soil, because the water is very important thing for the plant. Without water the plant cannot be survive. So the roots basically giving the strength to the plant to be upright, to be firmly upright in the above the soil. And then the second most important thing, it is helping into the absorption of the water from the soil, and minerals also will come with the soil, with the water. So that is the basic function of the root, that is providing water also, that is without water our plant cannot be make the food. It is basic thing for the photosynthesis. Now we will talk about the shoot part. Shoot means the above the soil. So above the soil, that is stem. First of all we have to see what is stem. Actually the stem holds the leaves and flowers above the ground, right? Now our upward part this is, so how the stem is holding and helping to hold the leaves, flowers and fruit, whatever the things are attaching to the above the part of the plant, so that is holding with the stem only. Now the second thing, leaves. Leaves is one of the most important part, that is also called the food factory of the plant. And why it is called the food factory? Because it absorbs the sunlight and it is changed into the food, right? It is absorbing because it is having the chlorophyll inside, that is why it is looking the green in color. So it is also called the kitchen of the plant, or you can say the food factory. So that is a food factory because it is absorbing the sunlight, and the photosynthesis is actually happening into the leaf only, and the plant will make their food in the leaf. That is why it is called the food factory, and it is possible because of the chlorophyll, and basically it is absorb the sunlight and it is converted into the food, right, in the form of glucose. And the next main thing we have to see, that is flower. Flower is actually the reproductive organ of the plant, okay, and it is also after means pollination they produces the seeds which is germinate and grow into the new plant. That is why it is very important. After pollination it will having the it will develop the seeds inside the plant or inside the fruit, so that seeds are going to use to grow the new plant. That way it is called the sexual part of the plant and reproductive part of the plant. So with the help of the seeds only in flowering plant we can be grow the new plant. So that is very important thing. So these are the main thing which are we have discussed, what is root and what is shoot, what is the functioning of the root and what is the functioning of shoots. So all the points just keep in your mind. It's a very basic point and you have to just remember in the next classes or next chapter will be depend on this. So number 2 point we will just discuss now. First point we have discussed what is root, and now it has one main thing, that is a primary root with many side branches. Now we will just talk about the types of the roots. Roots we have already started. Now we will talk about how many type of the roots. So now we will just discuss, that is primary roots, which many side branches are there, and the end part of the root branches bear the fine hair projections called the root hair. First of all, it is having the primary roots, that is the broad roots, and then to the primary or one broad root there is a sub branches are there. You can be see the other diagram. This is a main root. This is, you can be say the main root. Then it is having the sub branches are there, and at the last of the branches or to this branches one more very little hair like projections are also there. So that is we can be divided into this part: main root, sub roots, and finally the hair like projections at the end of the roots. So what is functioning of that hair like projection? The primary roots with all its branches and root hair is called the root system, right? So whatever the branches and the main branch of the root and the side branches of the roots and finally the hair like projection that is attached, so all will make this root system. And now the second point we will see here, types of roots. So basically it's divided into two types. The root system is of two types. Number one, tap root system, and number two, fibrous root system, right? These are the basic types of the root. Whatever the plants are there, it is either it is having the tap root or either it is having the fibrous root system. So number one, we will talk about a tap root system. So what is the tap root system? The tap root system, actually it is having one main root, that is called the primary root, and then bears many side branches called the secondary root. It is very clear when you look at this diagram, this figure, that is the tap root system. In this, what's saying, it is having one main root, right? It is broad and hard, one main root are there, and then from the main root some side roots are coming out. So this root system is called the tap root system, right? Only the two things you have to keep in your mind. The number one, it is having the main root in the center, that is broader, and from that some other small roots are coming out. So that is called the tap root system, number one type. Now what are the other advantages and functions are there? Such root systems is found in the plants such as the gram, pea, etc. That is called the dicot plant. Gram, pea, etc. that are called dicot plant. And what is mean by the dicot plants? It is actually the division of some plants on the basis of the seeds. If the seeds are having two cotyledons, and what is mean by the cotyledon? That is covering to the leaf. When you divide the seeds, it can be easily divided into two halves. That is called the dicotyledon. So whatever the plants that is having the seeds for dicotyledon, so they are having the root system like tap root system. So this is a clue, or with the help of this point you can be understand which plant having the this kind of the tap root system. The plants which is dicot plants like gram, pea, etc., they will having the tap root system. Understood? So we will start with the next system or next type of roots, that is called fibrous roots. Now what is mean by the fibrous roots? In the fibrous roots, the system has a cluster of roots of same thickness and size arising from the base of the stem. This type of the root system is found in the plants such as maize, grass, etc., that is monocot plants. So you can see the diagram, the cluster of roots are there and they are having a same height, same length or same thickness, you can say. So there is not any a main root are there and then it's coming out. So all the roots, they are just arising from the stem and then all having the same thickness, and that is why it is called the fibrous. It's a bunch of roots. Bunches of roots, they are arising from the stem and all having the same thickness and size, right? So this is called the fibrous root system. That is why it is called the fibrous, and easily you can be understand the difference from tap root system and fibrous root system, right? So in the tap root system we have just said talk about a main root, then sub roots are there, but in our fibrous root system it's a cluster of roots of the same size and same thickness. It's a bunch of roots that are arising from the stem. So this is the basic difference between the tap root system and fibrous root system. Now the example of this means which plant having this kind of the system, that are maize, grass, etc., that is called the monocot plants. And again, mono means one, mono means single. So what is mean by the monocot plants? The plants that are having the seeds, or that is basically having cannot be divided into two parts, or the seeds having only one cotyledon, that is called the monocotyledon. So the plants which are having the seed like monocot seeds, so they must be having fibrous root system. So this is a basic two types of root system, taproot system and fibrous root system. I request all the student, you can just please draw the diagram of this kind of the both the systems, taproot system as well as fibrous root system. Now what is the function of the root? Why there is a need of roots? Why there is a need of different kind of the roots are there? So number one, as we have seen already, that fixes the plants into the soil. That is a very important function of the roots. It is providing the support. It is providing the support to withstand or upright into the air or above the soil. That is why it is fixes the plant into the soil. Number two, absorb the water and minerals from the soil for the growth of the entire plant, because water is one of the important thing for the plant. Without water the plant cannot be survive. So plant the roots also helping to the plant that are absorbing the water from the soil, and it is provided to each and every part of the plants. So all part of the plant will get the water. That is also one of the important thing that is done by the roots. Number third, binds the soil together so that does not get washed away during the rain or blown away by the wind. It is also helping to stop the soil erosion. Soil erosion means the soil or the humus layer that is containing more nutrients in the soil. Sometimes with the heavy wind or heavy flow of the water, the uppermost layer of the soil that will be washed away. So this roots also helping the soil to be in a one place. They are protecting the soil, they are just holding the soil, and they are not allowing the soil to washed away with water or heavy wind. So that is good for the soil also, and it is avoiding the soil erosion, right? So these are the three basic functioning of our roots that are important, and you have to keep in your mind. Next, B, that is shoot system. Up to here we have just covered the part that is above the soil, that is called that is below the soil, that is called the root system. What are the type of the root, what is functioning of the root, and what are the advantages of the roots. Now we will start the part that is present above the soil, that is called shoot system. So now we will talk about the shoot system. So what are the shoot system? Actually the part of the plant which grows above the soil from the shoot system. Whatever the part which is present above the soil, right, that is the stem or leaves or different kind of the flowers, everything that is which is present above the soil, that is come under the shoot system, and that we will see in the detail now on the next page. So in the shoot system, number one we will start with a stem, or before that it's made up of stem, buds, leaves, flowers and fruits. These are the parts that are present above the soil, that is why it is called the shoot system. So number one will start with the stem. What is stem? The stem is the main aerial part of the shoot system. Main aerial part. What do you mean by the aerial part? Means whatever the part which is present above the soil in the air, that is called the aerial part. And it is why it is main aerial part, because it is providing the point on the stem from where the leaves and the branches originated are called the nodes. This stem having the nodes, different kind of the nodes are there, that are points on the stem. From there the different branches or different leaves are means growing from there. So this is actually the very main thing for the plant. And the part of the stem between the two successive nodes, it's called the internodes, right? You can be seen in the detail or in this diagram. This is one node and this is two node. This is called the node which is present here. Again the same nodes will be having here. So this is the two nodes. This is auxiliary nodes, and one upward having the different nodes. So this is between the two nodes, the part is there, that is called the internode, right? one node and two node. Before two nodes there is space are there, whatever the space, that is called the internodes. And that is what are the nodes are present on a upper side, that is called the apical nodes or apical bud. So this is called the node, and between two successive nodes, that is internodes is there. So the tip of the shoot has bud. Now we have talk about the nodes, that is a basic nodes are there from where the branches or the leaves are grow, and between two nodes, that is a space, that is called the internode. Now we will talk about the buds. So on the tip, if the buds are present on the tip, that is called the apical bud or terminal bud, and they are responsible for the vertical growth of the stem. So this is the apical bud here, because this apical bud is present on the top of the plant, so that is why it is called the apical buds, and they are helping again the plants to grow in the vertical direction. So this is number one type of the buds. Number two type of the bud that are present in on the means axil or the angle between the upper side of the leaf and the stem, that is called the axil. This is upper side of the stem and leaf. So here that axillary bud, it is called the axial, and buds found here are called the axillary buds. This is the point where the next bud is found, that is called axillary bud, that is having the angle between the upper side of the leaf and the stem, right? So this is the upper side of the leaf and this is our stem. So this is making the angle. On this angle the bud is present, that is called the axillary bud. So these are the two type of the buds that are present on our stem, axillary bud, and number two is apical bud. Apical bud is present on the top, so the plant will be grow vertically. So this buds also you have to keep in your mind. So now we'll see the function of the stem. Before we have seen the function of roots, now we will see why there is need of the stem, what are the importance of the stem, and what are the function of the stem. So number one function, stem bear all the aerial part of the plant, that is buds, leaves, flower and fruit. These all are the part of the plant that are grow above the soil. So this all the things will be bear on the stem only. That is why stem it's a basic and important function of the stem, that is it bears all the aerial parts. Buds also there, leaves also there, flower and fruit. Number two, stem help in the upward movement of the water and minerals absorbed by the roots, right? Because actually water is needed into the leaf, because as we have seen already, leaf is called the food factory, because photosynthesis will happen into the leaves, but the water is present in the underground. So from where the roots can be take the water, but how it can be reach up to the leaves. So that is why the stem will be do a basic or main function. From the stem only the root can be pass the water to the roots can be pass the water up to the leaves. So that is why stem, one more important point is that is helping into the upward movement of the water and minerals that is absorbed by the roots. And in detail if you want to say, that is a tissue that is called the xylem tissue. So the xylem tissue are responsible for the movement of the water from roots to leaves, and that are present into the stem only. So that is why the stem is very important, and these are the several functioning of the stem. And again the transport them up to the leaves, flowers and fruit. From the root everywhere to each and every part of the plant, the water will be transferred with the help of the stem only, right? And the next point also we can see, fourth point is there, food prepared by the leaves is conducted downward to the roots and other non-green plants part by the stem. Now the production of our energy in the form of glucose will be happening into the leaves only, but there is requirement of the energy to all part of the plant. So that is why the energy in the form of glucose that will be or in the form of starch that will be moved from one part of the plant to another part, from your leaves to all part of the plant, that will be transferred with stem only. And stem also manufactured food when green and young. When the stem is become green in the initial stage, so stem also are able to make the food when initial stage, when it was the green. After it cannot be make the food, but before, when it was the green, stem also able to make the food. So that are the basic advantages of the stem, and remaining part we will take in our next lecture. Up to that, just go through this slide one more time. Whatever the important points you feel, just write down, and just make a diagram of the slide we have seen in before. What are the roots, what are the shoots, right? Which part is called the root, which part is called the shoot, and then we'll meet in the next lecture and we'll start the remaining part. So up to that, just take care.